Today, we are talking about change, how to handle it, how to deal with it, and how to make the best of it in your life. And the first thing I'm going to tell you is you got to get over the fact that you're not comfortable when it comes to making changes in your life. You don't like the fact that you're getting divorced or your relationship ended and it wasn't your choice. You're not really happy with the fact that you lost your job or something else in your life changed that was out of your control. You know what? Sit on that for 2 seconds and move on, because every second that you spend stewing on the idea of the fact that you don't like the change you're in is time wasted and time keeping you from making the most out of your situation. Now, there are 7 questions that come to mind when we're dealing with life and career changes, and some of them are not the right questions to be focusing on. And I'm going to tell you right away, look at these questions on the screen. Questions 1 through 4. Those are the questions you spend 2 seconds on and then you throw them out the window and move on with your life. These are the questions that hold you back from making the most out of your change. Questions 1 through 4 are dangerous. How do I feel about this change? Can this change be undone? Should this change have even happened in the first place, or is it unnecessary? And who do I blame for this change? These are a dangerous place to stay, and this is where most people spend all of their time because we don't like the fact that we have to deal with change. So we spend all this time denying it, being angry about it, and negotiating to undo the change that's upon us. Now, question 5 sits in a gray area because it's super important that we look into ourselves to understand what our piece of the equation is. But there's a very fine line between understanding ourselves in order to move forward and staying in a place of self-blame, self-doubt, and hate. Question 5, what was my part in this change? What was my part in causing this? Well, it's really important if you caused yourself to lose a job, if you caused yourself to end a relationship, that you understand some of your behavior patterns so that you can adjust going forward. But don't sit there looking back and spend all your time on it. Learn the lesson and let's move on, because we have to move on as fast as we can to questions 6 and 7, because 6 and 7 are the only questions that matter. And those are, what is the best possible outcome for me going forward? Right now, where you sit, regardless of how you feel, what is the best outcome from where you're at? And question 7, how do I make that outcome a reality? What's the best place for me and how do I get there? Those are the only 2 things that matter going forward. And that's how we're going to master change, is by focusing on those 2 questions. Everything else is the past. And going forward, we want the best possible outcome, and we're going to do everything we can to make it happen. Trust me, I understand it doesn't feel good to have change thrust upon you. It's scary to take the first steps to start a change that you know might need to happen in your life. It doesn't feel comfortable, it doesn't feel good, but we have to make it happen, because change is the one thing that's certain. It will always be here. It's very consistent, ironic as that is. Change will be with you your entire life. But do you know what? Mastering change, learning how to get through it, and getting to your best possible outcome, now that does feel good. I'm Andy Vargo, and I'm so glad you guys joined me today for this video about change management and how to own it. I want to hear from you and hear about the changes in your life and what you're facing. Let's have a conversation and see if we can make you one step closer to your best possible outcome.